This video was made possible by Skillshare. Start learning new skills with a free trial by being one of the first 1,000 to join at the link in the description. So, if you're watching this video the day that it was released, November 3rd, 2020, you may know that today is Election Day in America. If you're watching this video any day after Election Day, congratulations. That means that Election Day has passed and at least some level of civilization still exists, which definitely wasn't a given. Given that the United States has famously always treated everyone equally and fairly, you might be surprised to learn that right now, across the country, politicians are engaging in blatant voter suppression, closing polling places, purging voter rolls, and putting big signs on voting booths that say, "Do not enter, Bachelorette spoilers inside." But this isn't a channel about the ways America systematically oppresses its most vulnerable people and attempts to take away their most precious civil right. This is a channel about silly little facts and goofs and stuff, which is why we're going to talk about space voting. The process for Americans voting in space is simple. A secret government lizard sends a ballot to Studio 7 in Burbank, California, where the actors playing astronauts film their space videos, the actor fills it out, and finally— okay, wait a minute, it looks like my research team has been getting their information from 4chan again. Let's do that over. Back in 1996, astronaut John Blaha was about to be sent to the Russian space station Mir when he realized, hey, I sure would love to be able to vote on which guy is deciding to shoot me up into the sky in defiance of both God and man. So he took up the issue with NASA, who then took it up with Texas, because nearly all astronauts live in Houston near Johnson Space Center, and it turned out that while Texas doesn't like voting by poor people or people whose last names end with O or Z, they're all for astronaut voting, and so they passed a state law in 1997 which set up a process for voting from space. The process begins with a federal postcard application, a standard form for all US military members, on which the astronaut indicates, among other things, which elections they want to vote in: local, state, intergalactic, multidimensional, or federal. But because Uncle Sam keeps forgetting his Wi-Fi password, that form must be physically mailed in, so the astronaut must fill it out while they're still on Earth, sometimes a year in advance of the election. As Election Day nears, the county clerk in the astronaut's home county, which is usually Harris County, will send a test ballot to Johnson Space Center, where someone— we don't know who, but I bet it's Greg— will use a space station training computer to make sure the test ballot can successfully be filled out and sent back to the clerk. Once the clerk receives the "hey, yep, space ballot is a go" message, they'll create a secure electronic ballot, which is sent to Johnson Space Center, who uplinks it to the ISS. On the ISS, the astronauts will stop whatever magical floaty science they're up to, go into their email inbox, scroll past their space junk mail, and find a message with special credentials sent from the county clerk, which lets them access their ballot. And then they'll simply fill it out, list their address as low Earth orbit— genuinely, that's not a joke— and downlink it to Johnson, who sends it to the county clerk, who has their own password, which they must enter to access it. Oh, and the astronaut must vote by 7 p.m. local time on Election Day, so it's best they give themselves plenty of space to do this important task. After all, the gravity of voting is astronomical. Now, you probably have one key question. How the heck does the International Space Station have email or internet? That one takes some explaining. So basically, on Earth, there are all these antennae on the ground called the Space Network, and there are all these satellites in high orbit called TDRS, which stands for Totally Definitely Rocking Satellites, which are grouped over the Indian, Pacific, and Atlantic Oceans and move in geosynchronous orbit, meaning their speed matches the Earth's rotation, so they are always above the same terrestrial spot. The ISS sends data-carrying radio waves to whichever satellite is nearest, which zooms them to the ground antenna, which swishes the data through a landline to various NASA centers. Data goes to the ISS in the exact reverse way. Centers whoosh data to antenna, antennas zoom it to the satellite, and satellites kabloosh it to the ISS. Now, there are a lot of things exclusive to Americans: spray cheese, the Electoral College, Girl Scout cookies, dressing dogs like people, and electing pro wrestlers as governors, but unlike those things, space voting is not an American-only phenomenon. In 2020, Russian cosmonauts voted on proposed constitutional changes via both online ballots and proxy voters, people on Earth designated to cast a vote on their behalf, the same process used by a French astronaut in their election. Other ISS partners, Canada and Japan, haven't ever had astronauts vote from space, but to be fair, they don't have the same ongoing ISS presence as Russia and the US. This year, in the 2020 presidential election, American astronaut Kate Rubins has already early voted from the ISS, which, speaking of, if you're an American who hasn't voted, you should definitely stop watching this video and do that. Like, now. Like, seriously, now. Go. Well, maybe watch the ad read and then vote, but definitely vote. Please, please, dear God, vote. Maybe voting will be such a transformative personal experience for you that you'll want to write a whole essay about it. If so, you could learn how to do so by heading over to Skillshare and taking Ashley C. Fort's incredible class, Creative Personal Writing, Write the Real You, which will teach you how to write personal essays from memory. This could be an especially great class for those of you in Zoom or normal university/school, as, in my experience, writing is one of the most useful skills for getting ahead in formal education and beyond. If personal essays aren't for you, I guarantee that Skillshare has something that is. They've got thousands of classes on everything from writing to animation to photography to business to graphic design, which can help you find a new passion, help you get ahead in school, or give you the skills for career advancement. With its varying difficulty levels, whether you're just getting started or wanting to polish your already impressive abilities, Skillshare's got you covered, and all their classes are broken up into small digestible chunks that you can work your way through in these small open moments of your days. You can get a free trial for Skillshare when you're one of the first 1,000 to sign up at the link in the description.